Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome into another Fantasy Stock Exchange video. Happy Friday to you guys. Today, we're bringing you a mock draft. I've got Lucas. I've got Danny. I've got our wonderful Discord that's jumped into this, and I've got an intro. Hit it.
Are you ready, Jerry?
I'm ready.
Just want to make sure you're ready, brother.
Show me the money.
All right, guys, welcome into a draft video. We're doing a mock draft. It is a Superflex mock draft. Standard. We're kind of mixing it up. We've done a few PPRs. Before I dive into it and click randomize, Danny, Lucas, what's going on?
Not too much. Just ready to get a mock draft through. Am I right?
Absolutely, Danny.
Yeah,
I completely back that.
Standard scoring, you threw me for a loop there. I didn't know that was happening.
Hey, you got to do it. You got to do it. See, this is the thing. Like, guys, we want to try and diversify what we're bringing to you guys. We've done a lot of PPR. Please comment down below what kind of settings you guys want us to run. It'll be the next thing I do. I promise you guys. Comment down below what you guys want in the draft. We will put it in there. We'll work out your kind of strategy. If you want to attack from a different pick, check out our Monday shows. Those are always going to be Fantasy Pros. We can pick whatever position we want, and we'll be able to help you guys out. But this is Sleeper. This is with the Discord, and it's a wonderful Friday to go ahead and get started on this draft. You guys ready to kick it off?
Well, yeah, you mentioned the Monday mock. Don't forget, too, every Tuesday, we're doing a Drafters Best Ball mock as well. And if you guys haven't already, use that promo code FSE, 50% match back. I'm going to say it in every video just so you guys know what a great value. But
absolutely. So, yeah, Lucas has the 5. Danny has the 9. I have the 10. Guys, it should be a good mock. Some different approaches here. Again, it is Superflex. You can kind of see the positions set up with my roster. You see 2 flexes, and then that bottom one is going to be a Superflex. So it's a 9-round draft. Again, guys, hop in the Discord down below. That would be much appreciated. And also would like to thank our affiliate, Shady Rays. Guys, fantastic company. 10 free meals to Feeding America. Every single sunglass pair that you buy. Fantastic deal. Go ahead and check that out. That's also in the description. We need a pick. We think we're going to get an auto pick for the first one. Guys, how are we approaching a Superflex draft to kind of start?
Honestly, it just comes down to the value. I mean, at the 109, 110, we kind of got like screwed over there. Lucas probably loving life, knowing he'll get one of the top 4 running backs.
I love it.
So.
I love the back end of the draft. I have nothing to complain about. I'll say it in every video if I need to. Yeah, I'm not going to get one of the high-end quarterbacks. Maybe I will, but I definitely will get running back value, especially this late and in a Superflex. So I absolutely love it. We see Christian McCaffrey go off first. Kind of seems standard even in a Superflex, but the next 2 picks are Patrick Mahomes and Lamar. Do you have a preference on either one of them if you're picking at the 2, or do you want to go Barkley maybe?
I'm definitely going Barkley in a redraft. I'm just looking at it like, yes, in a dynasty perspective, I love the longevity of taking a quarterback. That's why I would prefer a quarterback suit Barkley in the dynasty. But again, when it comes to a redraft, you're getting these guys for 1 year. You win championships based off your ceiling of your running backs. I mean, yes, the quarterbacks are going to be nice, but at the end of the day, this is standard scoring. I'm assuming there's no real special, other than Superflex, there's no real special scoring attributed to the quarterbacks. While you do need 2 quality quarterbacks to be able to compete, I wouldn't take either of them over Saquon personally. But what are your thoughts, Lucas?
I mean, I think Lamar, just because, I'm pretty high on him. I see through the regression a little bit. But I don't know. I think we saw what kind of Barkley's floor is last year, and it was not the 102. I just think that the team is being a little overvalued as to what actually is going to occur with this team. The O-line is still not good. I mean, a whole new coaching staff. The defense is still not that great. Still a sophomore quarterback that, besides his a couple big fantasy point games, was not that good last year. So I think I would probably prefer Lamar, but Barkley still has to go top 4. I went ahead and took Zeke just because it was standard. I would have gone Kamara probably if it was PPR. Yeah, I guess. Maybe my QB3, but I think Zeke probably there at the 105 just because I don't really see another quarterback entering that tier. But probably next year I think we'll have a couple up in that 104 to 105 range.
So is that your difference maker, PPR-wise and standard on your choice between Zeke and Kamara?
As of now, yeah. But I think Zeke's definitely creeping because I think really the only thing going good for, obviously, like playing all 16 games for Kamara, but we're banking on a lot of touchdown positive regression, which, I mean, in theory, it's good, but it doesn't always come, if that makes sense. Who's to say they don't just run Latavius Murray or just throw the ball into the 10-yard line again?
Yeah.
So we'll see. But I think as of now, yes.
Danny, I'll let you talk about your pick. I do want to make a quick comment. Derrick Henry, relatively high in this draft. Do you think in non-PPR platforms he has to go around pretty high?
He has to, dude. Man, I'm upset because I was going to take Henry or Jacobs, and both just got sniped right in front of me. So feels bad, but we don't fret it. I'm looking at the board right now, and man, like it's tough. It's tough to think about. This is a good value on Cook. I mean, he scares the living crap out of me. I'm telling you guys, even though you're in the mock, I just have to take Madison later. But you're getting a guy who is legitimately a top 2 option all of last year at the 109. While he does present a shit ton of risk, and I'm fully acknowledging that, I feel like the 109 value that you're kind of getting on him here is like baking that risk in. So I'm gonna take the risk on Cook. Again, my other 2 options would have been Jacobs or Henry because of the standard format. But looking at Cook, if he's able to stay healthy, I mean, he's the definition of a workhorse back, so I'm more than comfortable with that.
Yeah, fair enough. So I'm kind of sitting here, and yeah, in super flexes, I do want to touch the quarterback in the first 2 rounds. I think it's highly dangerous to not go your first 2 rounds without taking a quarterback. So that's nerve wracking to me. I guess you guys kind of share the same opinion, even though we've all gone running backs up to this point.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the value. I mean, if I can get I'm going to tell you this, this is a guy I'd obviously target if he made it back to me. But if I can get a guy like Dak at the 204, I'd definitely take him there. But I knowing these guys know what they're doing because they watch our content, he's most likely going to be gone. To me, he's just got such a clear path to the QB3, maybe even cracking that top 2. I know that's high praise, but man, everything about that situation, about his overall volume this year is pointing to a fucking monster year. So maybe if Dak falls or maybe one of the other guys fall, okay, but we have not seen a single receiver go. So just got to see how the board plans out now, because definitely an interesting first round to say the least, with 9 running backs and 2 quarterbacks.
And I'll go ahead and talk my picks. So I went Mixon, and there's a reason why. I think in a super flex league, you got to play out everyone else around you. I think it's hard for you to just say, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that. I kind of realized there was a long run of running backs, and I had to get my core one. And I got Mixon, so I felt like I would get one of these guys on the turn. And guess what's happening? My pick's the next one up, and you guys can see on the board, I have the same selection of quarterbacks I was thinking about grabbing at my pick. So this is phenomenal. This is a phenomenal situation with me. I'm going to go Kyler. I'm going to let Danny take his boy Dak. I very much love this kind of team, even though, it's single year. The fact that I'm able to get Kyler in the second round is fantastic to me.
For sure. I mean, now I'm at a dilemma because, I'm looking at Michael Thomas as well. It's either going to be Dak or MT. I llove Eckler, but I mean the standard does hurt him. If it's half PPR or full,
Thomas a little too.
Oh no, it definitely does. But I'm just saying, apart from you just don't see him make it to the mid-second round. I don't even know what to make of this. It's between those 2 guys right now for sure. Looking at the board here, I mean, this run on running backs. You know what?
It's scary. And guys, this is me reassuring everyone. As much as we want to give you perfect solutions for how to draft, and everyone wants to do that.
I'm actually going to go Kenyan Drake.
Yeah, everyone wants to do that in the community. You got to follow the trend of the draft. I knew I had to grab a running back, and I knew I'd get my quarterback later. So that's what that kind of decision making was. Yeah, go ahead and talk Kenyan Drake though.
Sorry, I mean coming down to that, I looked at it. I mean, realistically, in a standard, I do love Eckler, but I mean, if you're talking about just the workload, again, we've mentioned Chase Edmonds on the channel a lot, but we saw down the stretch, Kenyan Drake was actually establishing his role as an 18.5, 19 touch per game type back. And if he's able to even keep that up for the majority of the season, again, I'm planning on taking a guy like Edmonds later on. You guys know that already. So, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say that in a real draft. But just looking about Kenyan Drake, I mean, the ceiling that he showed last year down the stretch, RB4 down the stretch, I mean, he was just phenomenal. He won people championships. The ceiling he saw on a weekly basis was phenomenal. So I definitely like that pick. And Lucas, you actually went with the guy I was considering there. So talk about your pick.
Yeah, I took Dak. I mean, it's super flex. In a normal super flex, I would say come August, he'd probably be end of round 1, right around Russ, I would imagine.
Great.
Couldn't let that go. On Kenyan Drake, though, I was actually doing my projections and looking at the snap shares. Chase Edmonds played 11 snaps in the 4 weeks that Kenyan Drake took over. So I think that we're kind of overvaluing Chase Edmonds a little bit. That's in a good way for Drake because I have him pretty high as of now, just in terms of projections. Obviously, ranking's a little bit lower because we have to project a little bit of regression, maybe a little bit of snap share taken back, but it was definitely a one back committee last year for them.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I like the way our teams are looking. Again, as I mentioned, that pick was between Drake, MT, and Dak. But again, as you mentioned, if this was a half PPR, I would have considered MT or Eckler. But again, you mentioned like that snap share was so ridiculous. We recently did an ADV battles on Kenyan Drake, and man, like I have him as my RB 10 or 11 right now, and like even that, like I'm baking all of my risk into that ranking. Like if there wasn't the risk that he presented, he would most likely be in that 6, 7, 8 type range. Like to be quite honest, like that's how much ceiling he actually has.
Yeah. And Lucas, you did take a tight end. Do you want to mention another team that took a tight end? So what is it? Squealers. He took quarterback. He went Lamar. Then he went DeAndre Hopkins. Now he has Kelsey. Guys, I've stressed this a lot in other videos. The danger of going this long without a running back, 3 rounds is very toxic. I think the board has already been dried up, so I get the understanding for him to want to go value. But I just think it's really dangerous to do that. You guys' kind of thoughts before we talk about Lucas's pick?
Yeah, I mean, not leaving with a running back in the first 3 rounds. I mean, I guess he kind of zigged while like we were zagging because, I mean, you look at all the running backs that went off before him. So, I mean, if he can hit on a couple later on running backs, I mean, he's got a nice trio there. But just not something I would do personally. It's just way too risky. And then you're going to end up with like Todd Gurley and Devin Singletary as your 2 running backs. Like that's not what I like at all. So,
yeah.
I mean, he has 10 touchdowns locked up with Kelsey. So I mean, I would take Kelsey 100 times out of 100 over Melvin Gordon, James Conner, and Love Bell though. So I mean, yeah, he just kind of fell into a crappy spot, I think, with a lot of running backs going in that round 1. So yeah, but I think he did an okay job. Not the DeAndre Hopkins pick, but okay job not falling into the trap of chasing running backs.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with this ADP, but I'm gonna go with it's standard. So I was gonna take DJ Moore, but this is standard, so I'm actually gonna go with Mike Evans.
Thank goodness, Danny. All right, so guys, you know me, I'm gonna just pound running backs. I'm thinking of a guy that he has his receptions, and that's fine. But he also provides a lot of rushing value. There's a couple guys that I'm kind of sitting with, and there's either that Lev Bell odd floor that always makes you uncomfortable playing. The Leonard Fournette styles, I feel like I could be very comfortable with him. You got Melvin as well and James Conner. It's not really something I'm like screaming is awesome, but there's not really any wide receivers. My core 8 wide receivers that have all gone off. So I don't really see a need to go there. Then you kind of look at the quarterbacks too. Matt Ryan's probably the best option. I'm hoping he kind of comes around because I'm going to go ahead and take Leonard Fournette here at the back of the 3rd. I think that's pretty good value for him. And knowing I have Joe Mixon too, that feels like a really good startup for me in my first 3 picks.
Mentioning Fournette, he was actually going to be my pick if he came around on the 404. I mean, I've voiced plenty of times like I'm not a big fan of him like on the channel. I mean, you're looking at it like in terms of the workload, this is standard. Running backs are premium and standard. Getting a guy like that at the end of the 3rd, low 4th value is something that I'm more willing to accept. Like now, there was a point in the offseason where people taking him at the 301, 302, and that's just insanity to me. But, I mean, if you're getting up to late 3, early 4, I mean, that's the perfect range for him in my opinion. So that's definitely a good value there. So after you went with Fournette, we actually saw Amari Cooper go off the board. Now, I love the talent as a Cowboys fan, but, man, just the inconsistencies week to week. He's always playing with injuries. I mean, I do like – this is probably where he's going to finish. But, I mean, making him my 3rd pick with only 1 running back on my board would definitely be a little too scary for my own liking. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I can back it. Lucas, we'll bounce. Lucas.
I don't know. I don't take injured receivers that I know aren't going to play for a full season. I mean, like, yeah, he'll finish there, but like his game log was 16 games last year because he actually played 16 games. He legit left in the first quarter of the games.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people know from experience, you're going to be like, well, why did I start him? I'm never starting him again. And then you bench him the week where he goes off for 30 fantasy
45,
points.
yeah.
Yeah, so like there's no real good incentive to actually taking him. Obviously, if he falls to the 4th, 5th round, like yeah, but like he doesn't is the thing. There's no value for wherever he goes. Standard, I don't really know how to evaluate receivers in standard. I don't play standard leagues, I guess you could say, but I just avoid him in general. because the way I look at fantasy is you're playing week by week. You have to win each week to fucking get to the playoffs, obviously. And I don't want to have to decide, do I really want to sit a top 15 talent receiver in the NFL every single week when it comes down to it, even though maybe he's questionable or something dumb like that. So I would just probably avoid if possible.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, so again, we'll kind of look at it. So the quarterback form that's kind of left right now, I'd say the best options, probably taking a risk on Daniel Jones, a Matt Stafford type, Tom Brady, Jared Goff, Matt Ryan. Maybe Rodgers. I'm not a Baker fan. I'm not even going to mention him. I think saying his name was giving him too much credit. See, that's kind of what I'm looking at with what's available. It's filling that Superflex is very important, but I also want to make sure you balance that that running back depth. So that was my kind of decision making with going with Fournette. So now that I'm sitting here coming up on the clock, about a couple seconds away, I'm going to be looking at Matt Ryan. It's who I wanted. It was between him and Fournette. So, again, this is why I really like this part of the draft. I think you're getting a lot of falling value sometimes. And look at that. He's going to be available for me. I'm going to go Matt Ryan here. I'm going to lock up my second quarterback. I feel really good about my second quarterback. You're playing for 1 year, and it's the most pass-heavy offense, and there's a lot of good targets there for him. And a very bad defense is going to let up a lot of points. So I'm going to take advantage of Matt Ryan throwing the ball at hell ton.
For sure. I was actually hoping Ryan fell to me. So
you wish. I took Fournette and Ryan from you.
Looking at the board now, I mean, my top quarterbacks left would most likely be Stafford and Tom Brady. Now choosing between them two because I know a little quarterback run may happen. I mean, E-Money still doesn't have one. He's going to feel pressure in taking one. There's still good enough value for people to stack up on two. So I'm just going to lock it here. There's enough value at the receiver running back positions for me to be able to do this. So I'm actually going to go with Matt Stafford. I mean, we mentioned him in a recent ADP battles. I know I say that fucking every video, but me and Lucas actually went down between Rodgers and Stafford and basically just broke it down. And, man, Stafford could have seriously had talks for the MVP given his first 8 weeks of the season. Like, he was on pace for 38 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, over 4,500 yards. Like, and that offense was dynamic. That offense has only gotten better. They added DeAndre Swift in the draft, boys. So,
and Danny always goes down on Matt Stafford
for sure.
I'm just laugh at the joke. It makes makes me feel better. Anyways, you're kind of right. We did see Devin Singletary go off to a team that already had two quarterbacks. Then Tom Brady went off, and I think we may continue to see a little bit of a run. Lucas, your pick's coming up. What are you kind of planning to do here?
I don't know. I'm just going to do it. I'm going James Conner. I'll let him go there in the fourth round. I don't really know if I wanted to actually do it or not. I don't really know who else you'd want me to take there, I guess. I was probably going to go Brady, actually, when it came down to it, but not this time.
Get roasted. Daniel Jones comes off. So, yeah, Danny, you were right. Quarterback runs. I want to discuss this, right? So you have probably your core, like 6 guys, I would say. You get your Mahomes, your Jackson, your Watson, your Prescott, your Murray, and Wilson. But then after that, sometimes there's a little bit of falling between the next guy. Josh Allen's kind of in that mix. But where do you see the quarterback run? If a team is sitting in a Superflex league and they kind of want to make sure they have all positions established, where in the draft do you think is a good point to make sure you have those two quarterbacks?
It's like the quarterback run. It's going to happen in one of the 4th, the 5th, or the 6th round. Doesn't happen later than that. Doesn't happen earlier than that. It could happen maybe in a draft if quarterbacks fucking went all off in the 2nd, like happened in the 3rd. But most likely you're going to see these middle tier quarterback 1, high end quarterback 2s come off in the 4th to 6th round. It happens in every draft. I mean, the value is just going to catch up. People are going to realize, oh shit, this is a Superflex lead. I need 2 starting quarterbacks to be able to be functional. And so really after those top like echelon running backs, receivers go off and the top 6 quarterbacks, that's when people are more willing to take chances on these middle tier quarterbacks. So we're starting the 5th round. We're getting really close. Well, we're a couple picks in. Lucas is coming up, but I want to talk about this real quick. With camps kind of being either shortened or just cut in general with what's going on in the world, and the spring games also being cut, is taking rookie running back, rookie receiver the most risky thing you could do in a fantasy league redraft? Because I think it's very dangerous to do right now. Receivers especially. I mean, running backs is a little different because in terms of a running back, you just got to teach them their overall assignments. You got to teach them the overall scheme, and they're more easily They more
can adapt
easily
to the offense a little bit better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas a receiver, I mean, they got to learn the nuances of like how each team wants them to run their routes, the overall route tree, the quarterback's tendencies, placement, everything. Like there's a lot for the receiver to really think through from a mental standpoint that to be honest, I wouldn't take many rookie receivers in my fantasy draft regardless. I mean, obviously last year it paid off for you, and I totally understand that. And while the rookies this year are going to be talented enough to be able to have some blow up weeks, again, like you mentioned, the COVID offseason is definitely going to impact them. And in general, it's going to take a while for them to truly get acclimated with the offenses that selected them. So that's my thoughts on that.
Lucas, you took Jonathan Taylor. Your thoughts on that, getting your third running back before you have a wide receiver?
Yeah, I saw a ton of receivers that I liked. I didn't really want to reach on one. I saw a ton of quarterbacks I didn't really like or didn't really need to reach on. And I think realistically, Kareem Hunt's not really a pick you want in standard. Mack and Johnson kind of. I was looking at Raheem Mostert a little bit, but I think Jonathan Taylor, I think hopefully he gets the red zone work. You could say I'm not really for sure how it comes out, but I think it's probably the pick there. And I am actually going to do I'm going to go record with Dwayne now, so I'm going to leave mid video, and you guys are just going to accept it, okay?
That's hilarious. Thank you, Lucas, for being a part of at least the first half. If you've gotten to this point in the video and you've seen Lucas leave, please leave a comment down below. I'll like it, and I'll say congratulations for being one of very few. I love you, Lucas. Get the hell out of here.
For sure. I'm looking at the board right now, and there's so many receivers that I really like here. Also running back. I can just check that. You know what? I'm just going to take DeAndre Swift. I mean, I mentioned just right now that running backs take a little less time to get acclimated. So overall, I mean, it's going to be risky because I know, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to take a receiver in my next pick.
Yeah, me too. Because I have to go running back here. Guys, we've talked about it. You got to go running back early because it just gets dangerously dry. Kareem Hunt does not have fifth-round value for me. He doesn't, but he does in a format where all these running backs are flying off, and there's not a lot of receivers flying off, and I'm very comfortable saving that for later.
For sure. I mean, mentioning with the running backs, I mean, we saw like the first round had like, 9-10 running backs go off?
Yeah.
Like it's going to happen, especially in standard. In PPR, okay, people will talk themselves in, oh, you know what, this guy's got 100 catch upside. I'm more willing to take him. But, man, in standard, it is a fucking bloodbath of running backs. Because let's be honest here, your best receiver, he can catch 140 passes. Well, guess how many points that actually accounts for your fantasy team? None.
Yep.
So overall, I mean, if you're attacking the receiver position, kind of like what I went with Evans, you want guys with super high upside in terms of air yards, in terms of deep attempts, in terms of touchdowns, because that's ultimately how you're going to get your points. Whereas like these PPR monsters aren't going to be as effective. And as you know, you're not going to take a fucking Jameson Crowder. You're not going to take even like you look at some running backs like Tariq Cohen loses basically all of his value in a standard.
Oh, completely. And there's more guys than that. I think Chase Edmonds type, he could be rough to want to kind of work with. I think there's a lot of guys that kind of just get weakened with this. Austin Eckler, I mean, it's a guy that we're ridiculously high on. We didn't see him come off until the 2-9. I mean, that we have been sitting here harping on him in PPR leagues to take early second to back end first.
Yeah, you never see me pass on Austin Eckler, and that hurt me inside to do that. But I'm just looking at it. Okay, ideally, a lot of Eckler's points are going to come from his receptions comparatively to what Kenyan Drake's going to offer you. And while I do prefer Eckler in like the half PPR, full PPR formats, that decline of overall catching upside, like from a Sanders perspective, ultimately closed the gap and made me actually prefer Drake because of the scoring settings. So it's unfortunate because you know how much I want to get Eckler on every team, but yeah, you got to do it sometimes, right? You got to bite the bullet. Actually, after you went Kareem Hunt, we actually saw two receivers that I'm sure neither of us were actually going to take. And,
You're right.
Hilton.
Absolutely.
I do like Brown from a talent perspective. Don't get me wrong, but man, like looking at the receivers left, there's still Allen Robinson, Calvin Ridley, DJ Chark. Like there's guys that are Terry McLaurin. There's so many guys that I'm just more comfortable taking. DJ Moore's still there too. Like it's just so many guys that are just worth it, right? Yeah.
Is he like buried?
He's hidden, bro.
Why is
I shouldn't have said anything, but
why is he all the way down there?
I know.
Oh, you shouldn't. Yeah, you shouldn't have said anything, Danny. That's an easy pick for me, and I kind of feel bad about that because I was actually kind of excited about taking DJ Chark. But why? What is wrong with these ADPs? Anyways, I'm not going to sit here and ask too many questions. Yeah, that's ridiculous value. And guys, again, and I'll say it one more time because I'll say it in every mock draft I ever do. You got to address running back early. You got to address running back early. You got to address the running back early. You got 3 flexes in here. If one isn't being occupied by a running back, you're only hurting yourself. I think it's got to be a running back that's occupying that. And I'm sitting here feeling very comfortable with what I may be able to get here. And yeah, DJ Moore is going to be the pick. I'm sorry, Danny. Why would you say anything?
You're good. I was actually going to attack I was thinking about the running or the wide receiver position. Then I saw that Cam Newton's still available. And realistically, we're looking at it. Look at the quarterbacks left. I mean, you got Mayfield, you got Cousins, you got Goff. There's another guy I want later on. I'm not going to tell you, but you probably already know that I think I can get a later ADP. So I'm going to actually take Cam Newton here. Again, 2-quarterback league. He's got legitimate top 10 upside. I mean, okay. Look at this from a completely objective standpoint. What do you love about Josh Allen?
Running abilities and deep ball abilities. I think if you have a league where you're kind of messing with the quarterback settings, it's going to be kind of an issue for you to actually want to take him. Like, say you got like negative points for interceptions and negative points for incomplete, weird shit. But I've seen leagues with it. Scott Fish.
The reason why I ask is because whatever you love with Josh Allen, we've seen that a healthy Cam can do that and more. So, I mean,
I don't know about more, but he definitely can do that.
Peak Cam, top 5 quarterback in fantasy.
Well, I don't think we'll see peak Cam anymore. I think that's over.
But, I mean, even 2018, for the first 12 or so weeks before he got hurt, I mean, he was a top 3 overall quarterback in fantasy that year. So, he got hurt. I mean, the shoulder issue, he dove. I guess, like, somebody was turning a pick 6. He dove to try to tackle them, tore his rotator cuff, kind of messed him up last year. We saw he didn't play last year. He's had a full year to really rehab again. He's definitely going to be somebody that we're going to bring up to Dr. Edwin Porras. So you guys got to stay tuned for that episode. We're bringing on an injury doctor to basically talk about some injured players that will really help you guys narrow down these, players with the red flags on them. But talking about Cam, I mean, if he's getting the flag of health, like the bill of health or whatever you want to call it, man, like he has to be in that 10 to 12 range just for a ranking. And that's even being like safe with it. Because, I mean, I have to readjust him in my rankings again. Like the news kind of broke out last week. We all know by now. But, man, if he's fully healthy, dude, like realistically here, obviously the situation is going to be tougher than he was facing with Carolina in 2018. But, again, like I mentioned, we saw in 2018 that he was still able to make do. I mean, he's got a receiving back in New England. He's got some type of weapons on the outside. So, I mean, overall, I really like what they got building around him. I mean, I know it was kind of rough last year. But, I mean, Cam's done so much more with so much less. Like we saw even in 2015 when he won MVP. I mean, I'm not comparing current Cam to that, but we saw like they didn't have much going on in that offense yet. I mean, the rushing ability, the overall ability to just wow with his arm, making plays. I mean, getting him here at the 604 in a 2-quarterback league, I'm more than fine taking him as my second quarterback. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of went on a tangent with Cam, but yeah.
Very good. So kind of just recapping what happened. We haven't seen a running back go off in this round. There was a lot of wide receivers being taken. I kind of figured that would happen, right? Obviously, running backs and quarterbacks are flying off early. It's in a standard league. I can understand that. But, geez, the amount of wide receiver talents that fall. I mean, DJ Shark, Calvin Ridley, Allen Robinson, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen. These are like fifth round or up kind of guys that you're finding in the 6th round. It's fantastic. Again, just rolling with the flow of your league. See, here's the thing. There's no running backs left, guys. There isn't. I can kind of show you guys the depth here on the side. Look at what's left. It's not good, especially in this round. So you got to follow the trend of your draft. If you're seeing a lot of running backs early, you either got to zig with it and you got to roll with what everyone's doing, or you got to zag and you got to either take advantage of price. But let me tell you, you're going to find an issue with running backs in standard leagues if you let them just continually fall. Your kind of thoughts on ensuring you cover certain positions in standard leagues first in PPR?
Yeah, I mean, again, you mentioned like the running backs definitely need to be taken care of. I mean, we see now people already adjust their running backs, now the receivers are flying like fucking hotcakes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you look at like a Juju Smith-Schuster, you never see available in the 7th round. It's happening because of the standard effect, because of the Superflex effect. It's crazy to see some of these names that are going in like the 3rd, 4th round area that are falling deep because of the format. I mean, we just saw Cam Akers just went off at the 704. I mean, how did the fuck did he fall? I don't know. Like Marlon Mack was taken above him.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of things. And we'll talk about the shortages of positions. We got the two back-end guys to the draft have not taken a quarterback. We've got the first guy finally took his quarterback, A Beanie or whatever. Finally took his first quarterback, and it's Kirk Cousins at the 701. That's dangerous. Not sure how I feel about that at all.
Yeah, I definitely don't like that. Sorry, I just got auto picked in our freaking league because we've been on call like this whole time. So like that sucks. I mean, I like Visca Chenault, but whatever. I mean, 10th round or late 9th round, Visca Chenault, I'm more than fine with that. I mean, he's legit.
Startup Dynasty, by the way, guys, just to kind of plug you in.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate. But I ended up getting with my boy McCall. I ended up snagging him because I had back-to-back. So happy with that. And anyway, it's a little off track, but going back to this draft, as we mentioned, I mean, we're starting to see the wide receivers really come at value, which is going to happen because of the league settings. But yeah, a little upset, but I'm fine with it.
Yep. So you're picking this draft now. You got 20-something odd seconds. Where are you kind of looking at going here?
It's going to be Terry McLaurin for me. You know me by now.
Damn it.
That's definitely going to be my pick. I mean, we mentioned multiple times on this channel. I mean, Terry McLaurin is just a freak. I mean, he's fantastic. Again, he was on pace for nearly 1,100 yards in his rookie season.
Yep.
He played in 13 games, had over 900 yards and 7 touchdowns. I mean, you're going to see the natural progression from both him and Dwayne Haskins this year. So I'm more than comfortable taking him there. Touching upon my next pick, I'm going to say after you pick because you picked before me. I don't need another snipe.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I took Julian Edelman. Just consistency. He's gonna get a lot of targets in. I'll go ahead and spoil it now. I'm gonna take I'm gonna take another New England guy with my pick. Just because I back it. Shoot, and I'm messing because some people joined and then they need to be auto picked. So. Yeah, kind of with what my mind is going at. What was that?
AJ Green.
Well, it deserves to happen. If you're gonna come into a draft and auto pick, you get AJ Green. So I'm gonna get this guy. He's another tucked away kind of talent. It's James White. He's gonna get volume. I'm gonna take the two best guys from New England, and I'm just gonna let them pour out value for me. I think James White always will have a very safe floor. Yeah, there's some times where he'll just not do shit for you, but I think in the system he's at, I think Edelman and White are really going to take advantage of Newton, and I'm very excited to see those two, especially White this upcoming year. And the value he has for being probably the best back in that system is very, very, very good.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you mentioned I actually have the quarterback that's throwing your guys the ball, so we'll hope that thing kind of works out. But after you went with James White, I actually ended up taking Michael Gallup. I mean, I mentioned multiple times, as I'll always continue to say. He's being incredibly slept on by the majority of the community. I mean, he was a top 17 overall wide receiver in points per game last year. Yes, they added CeeDee Lamb, but I broke down multiple times 190 vacated targets by the team, second most in the league. This is going to be a high-flying, high-pass volume offense. CeeDee Lamb was not brought in to break into Michael Gallup's chair. CeeDee Lamb was brought in to sort of account for the vacated targets from Randall Cobb, from Jason Witten. I mean, I've said multiple times I'm all in on this offense, not even just because I'm a fan of the team. Looking at it from a completely objective standpoint, they have the weapons, they have the quarterback, they have the system, they have the volume. That's what you look for when you're looking for fantasy football offense as a target. That's why I'm getting Michael Gallup here in the 8th round.
Yeah, fair enough. So, yeah, kind of more trends that happen. We started to see some interesting other running backs come off. Carry on, not a fan, but you know what? Do it if you want. Your thoughts on Kerryon? Because I think this actually needs to be touched on. Why people still have confidence in him. Maybe we should have confidence in him. I don't know. Your thoughts?
Not a fan. I mean, looking at like some of the guys that were still available. I mean, Brandon Cooks, Devontae Parker, Tyler Boyd, Mecole Hardman, Christian Kerr, Marvin Jones, and that's just the receivers so far. Like I can get into other positions. Touching upon the running back itself, I mean, you're taking a guy with virtually no upside over. I know you don't like Darius Geis. But if you're going to choose between Darius Geis and Kerryon Johnson, it is a no-brainer.
I'll take the starter. I back him.
Darius Geis, Sony Michel. It's
Jordan Howard. I think Jordan Howard's getting kind of slept on too. But
I like Jordan Howard, especially in a standard. He's gold in the standard. And Sony Michel, another player who's a gold in the standard. Of course, Lucas is there snagging him.
Absolutely. I do want to touch on this. We had a guy go Ronald Jones in the 7th round. He backed it up by getting Keyshawn Vaughn in the 8th. Is that something you feel like kind of needs to be a stack with each other? Like, do you think it's dangerous just to take one and not the other?
No, I don't. I don't generally believe so. I mean, I know you're higher on Vaughn and you don't like Jones, but me and Corey actually like went through it. Like again, he's obviously been a fan of the Bucs, so he's kind of studied the trends. And with Bruce Arians, a big trend that he really deciphered. I'm going to give him the credit where it's due because when he actually broke it down, again, we saw the workload from Ronald Jones last year. People were going to say, "Oh, Keyshawn Vaughn was drafted in the third round to cut into that." You actually look at it. I mean, the last time Bruce Arians selected a third round rookie running back, it was David Johnson in 2015, his rookie season. What happened in that rookie season? Andre Ellington got work. Who they bring in? They brought on a washed running back that was playing the majority of the season. Oh my God,
Chris Johnson.
Chris Johnson, that's it. He played the majority of the season. David Johnson only actually broke out for the final 5 games of the season, despite exuding talent before then. Again, you know how much I hate David Johnson on the channel. I'm not talking about 2020 David Johnson. I'm talking about prime David Johnson before he actually became washed. Sorry, I said that really fast. I'm just very passionate about David Johnson is not that current player. But again, talented rookie running back, showing so much potential, and yet he wanted the veteran to actually take the load. Now you look at it, Ronald Jones is way better than a washed-up Chris Johnson, than a washed-up Andre Allen, than a washed-up any fucking guy that was actually getting a carry back then. So if you're actually looking at it from an objective standpoint, again, you mentioned Ronald Jones is definitely going to get the between the tackles work. I mean, we already know that. Keyshawn Vaughn's probably going to dip into the receiving work. We're already anticipating that. But he's not going to dip into Ronald Jones' receiving work. He's going to dip into Dare Ogunbowale's receiving work, which, for the record, I mean, the fact that that guy was actually getting targets last year just shows that they didn't have a true second complement to Ronald Jones. But I really like Ronald Jones from a redraft perspective. Volume alone, he's actually efficient compared to like some of the guys who are taking 3 rounds above him, like David Johnson, like Togger, like sickening. But I'll definitely take that discount and get a guy who's probably going to perform similar to them in Ronald Jones. But what are your thoughts on Ronald Jones? I know you're a little bit lower on him.
Yeah, so I just want to make this clear. I really don't see Ronald Jones as being like this like savior. I think that's what we all thought last year. Didn't work out. My thing with Vaughn is poorly based on Dynasty. I think, I mean, you laid out the exact format. I think he's going to get work, and it's going to start next year than this year. But I think he's going to be very good. And I just don't know how I feel about Ronald Jones because, again, it's one of those guys we've just continually told ourselves, yeah, no, but like wait till next year. This is going to be the year it finally all starts clicking, and I got to see it. It's become that. I don't like to lean on that. Like I got to see it to believe it kind of person. But I think with him, he's deserved that kind of title. I do. I have to see it to believe that he's actually going to finally piece it all together this year.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I have more confidence in him because I did like him when he came out. Again, he struggled as a rookie. He did take a bounce back last year, I do believe. He was efficient last year. I mean, people want to say, oh, he's just the same old shitty-ass Ronald Jones. We saw that, like, when he was given the opportunity last year, he did perform. I mean, I think he finished as a top 26 overall running back last year. Again, it's going to come inconsistent. You're not paying a 7th-round price for a guy who's going to be a consistent top 15 finisher. It's not going to happen. But if a guy's going to be able to return you top 25 value in the mid to late 7th round where he's currently going, I mean, all day. Especially you get him as like your RB3, set him up in your flex, set him up in your RB2 on bye weeks. I mean,
got a question for you. Got a question for you. So tight ends, they've kind of let fall after the first 2. When do you kind of see starting to take tight ends in your redraft league? And then also, when do you see taking your third quarterback? Because this is only 9 rounds, right? Obviously, you're going a lot deeper, probably going around 16, 17 in your startup drafts for a redraft. Kind of your thoughts on that.
I mean, I don't mind, like, depending on the value that falls. I mean, I don't even mind taking one as early as like the 7th, 8th round. I mean, I was thinking about taking one here, to be quite honest. I mean, looking at the board, again, a couple of my more favorite tight ends kind of went. So I don't really feel comfortable with that next tier. I in this format, obviously, like we're not going to be drafting that far, but I would just take like a Jonnu Smith like shot later on. So I don't really feel comfortable taking one here. Looking at the board here, I mean, there's definitely nice receiving talent, but like kind of guys all jumbled in the same tier. So mentioning that I was thinking about taking a quarterback, I'm actually going to go with one. Believe it or not, I'm actually going to go with let me just look real quick who I actually want. I didn't really think it through. I'm going to go with Ryan Tannehill. I mean, volume is going to be the biggest question mark for him this offseason. But and people are going to say, oh, natural regression from those crazy efficiencies. Well, that offense is going to be good. He's got the weapons. I mean, he's got A.J. Brown. He's got Jonnu Smith, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's not much of a receiving threat, but it really takes the attention of the defense. And in general, we really saw that what Ryan Tannehill was able to do last season. I mean, he was phenomenal down the stretch. He was the most efficient quarterback we've seen in years. So even if he drops a bit into efficiency, he can definitely still provide you value. Taking him here as my third quarterback kind of provides a little more safety where if Cam gets hurt or anything like that, I have that sort of insurance. So, but I definitely like how that team ended up. But what are your thoughts on your team before we kind of get out of here?
Yeah, so I did the same thing as you. I took my third quarterback. I think it's kind of needed. I think if we didn't have the last team auto pick the whole time, we would have saw a little bit more quarterbacks go off.
Did they not get a quarterback?
They did not because they
God.
auto picked the whole time. Guys, we love that you guys hop into this. Everyone that is drafted in this, I hope you guys have gotten to this point in the video. You guys are fantastic. Whoever was auto picking, you're mean and we don't like you. But I'll go over my team. Third quarterback was taken. I took Joe Burrow. I feel very safe about my first two options. I think the first bye week between them is like week 8. So that means, let's let Joe Burrow get to week 8, and then I can feel comfortable about consistently playing him. I like the pick. I wanted more develop. I think you can go more of a development piece there at the end if you get two really, really safe quarterbacks. So, I'll go over my team real quick. I took Joe Mixon with the 110 to 110. Yeah, very good pick there. I had to get a running back. If you looked at the trends. Trends are really important in these drafts. Here, let me show the big board. Trends are important in the draft. You got to follow them. It's very important that you do, because otherwise you'll run out of luck at certain positions, especially running back in a standard. Had to go Kyler, one of my first in a real core quarterback one. I went Fournette after. I think that was a falling value. I was able to capitalize. Went Matt Ryan, so I did a little bang, 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 bang like that. Kareem Hunt was my next pick, kind of risky in a standard league, but I was willing to go with it because I think the yards will be there. Then I went DJ Moore and Julian Edelman. Yeah, kind of Edelman more PPR kind of aimed, but I still think he will have a lot of value and a lot of targets. James White, PPR, but I still think he'll get work, and he gets a lot of touchdown work as well. And then I went Joe Burrow to wrap it up. We talked about that. Danny, your team.
Yeah, going through my team, again, we're kind of briefly touching upon it. I did go risky in the first round. I mean, people are going to say, oh, the holdout, all the injury concerns. I understand that. But, man, if Dalvin Cook plays at you, if he even plays for me at least 12, 13 games, 109 is still a steal for him. Again, as I mentioned when I was actually making the pick, he's the RB2 in terms of points per game last year. That offense is still going to be run heavy. It's still going to be efficient. It's still going to be good. So, overall, I really like Dalvin's situational outlook if he's able to just stay healthy and sign that contract. And at this current juncture, I mean, if he signs that contract, he's realistically going to be a lock-in top 6 overall selection, top 7 at the minimum in the Superflex. So definitely like that value. Touching upon that, going across the turn, I ended up getting Kenyan Drake, running back from the Arizona Cardinals. Briefly mentioned it again when I made that pick. Just overall, I mean, his ceiling is so high that you could take him in the mid-second round. I mean, he's got legitimate top 5 upside. So if those two running backs hit, I'm realistically going to have 2 top 6 overall type running backs. Again, I mentioned we saw what the Cardinals did down the stretch once they acquired Drake. They really committed to the run. I do think they're going to open up a little bit more in the air raid. But again, Kenyan Drake's talented out of the backfield. He can catch some passes. While that's not going to affect the overall PPR outlook in terms of counting points for his receptions, he's ultimately going to improve his overall efficiency. He's going to improve his overall touchdown upside in general. So definitely like Kenyan Drake. Mike Evans mentioned this isn't a PPR. Otherwise, I probably would have gone with DJ Moore there. But going with Mike Evans, I mean, he is the perfect standard receiver. He's going to stretch the field. He's going to catch deep passes. He can catch touchdowns. Perfect value. Matt Stafford, again, you mentioned you took Matt Ryan a pick before. Kind of sniped me there, but I do love Matt Stafford. MVP favorite last year. He was phenomenal in the first 8 games. No other issues there. Maybe the back, but I ended up taking a third quarterback, as I will mention later in the draft. But DeAndre Swift, don't let him slip. He's my RB17 overall. That's all I'm going to say because we're trying to wrap up this video pretty quick. Cam Newton, mentioned him. Terry McLaurin, you guys know how much I love him. I mean, there's not much else to say. Michael Gallup, 8th round, fucking steal. And then Ryan Tannehill to really provide insurance against again, I mentioned those 2 quarterbacks that I have do have that injury concern, do have that kind of low floor in case anything happens to them. So getting a safer option in Ryan Tannehill as my quarterback 3 was ultimately the optimal play there, especially in the 9th round. So definitely really like how this team turned out.
Absolutely. Last question before we get out of here. We'll try and make it quick. We both kind of went with a few unsafe kind of guys. Leonard Fournette and his contract negotiations. Obviously, you talked about Alvin Cousins, Kenyan Drake. When do you think is the perfect time to grab handcuffs before we let people out of this video?
Well, I mean, in the super flex, they probably get pushed down a little bit. In a standard normal 1 QB league. Well, actually, I do prefer super flex for the record. But if you're just playing 1 QB league, those guys tend to go off in like the 9th, 10th round area. Whereas in a super flex, maybe they fall to like the 12th, 13th because of that quarterback talent being pushed up. But yeah, I mean, if we were to have continued this draft, I definitely would have grabbed Alexander Madison. I definitely probably would have grabbed Chase Edmonds. I mentioned him. He's one of our favorites on the channel. So really providing security to those high risk, high reward type plays. And again, I mentioned I got DeAndre Swift simply because of the injury concern with Dalvin, and I love DeAndre Swift. I mean, people want to say, oh, the Lions, they suck, blah, blah, blah. Carry on. Like, dude, they did not spend the 35th overall selection on my RB2 overall in the draft to not use him. He's going to be efficient. He's going to be good. He is elusive as fuck. He's got great vision. So overall, getting a talent like that at the 509 with the draft capital, with the opportunity is a no-brainer. It's a slam dunk. So definitely like that value.
Guys, it's been a lot of fun. Check out all the stuff down below. There's a lot of fun stuff. Our draft guide, please pre-order that or buy it, whenever you're watching this, guys. It's been a lot of fun. Check out the sunglasses down below. Check out the Discord to get into these mocks. Thank you guys for getting to this far. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Hit the bell. Danny, any final words?
Not really. Just getting ready to wrap this up, and make sure you stay tuned because quality content on the way.
See you guys.